Well, hello there, my lovelies. Welcome back, whichever one you are. How are you doing today? Wonderful, fabulous, amazing, so good to hear. So you might be wondering, where is the makeup? This is makeup. This is beauty channel. Yeah, no. So I wanted to just kind of rant today and do a get ready with me. And I'm also not going to lie to y'all. I'm sick, so I kind of don't want to do this. But the things I do for y'all, I appreciate it. No, though, I have the I don't know if it's the flu or a cold or I got something. I don't know what it is. I really don't want to go into work tomorrow, but at the same time, I'm hoping I feel better by tomorrow because I still gotta. And you might be wondering, well, don't you work in a restaurant? Doesn't that go against health code? Well, I haven't thrown up, so no, it doesn't. They don't care. But today, I want to just do kind of like a ranty get ready with me as I discuss low buys. I've been on one for like about a year now, and I kind of just want to talk, you know? I just want to talk, you know? Isn't that like the thing, like, oh, I just want to talk. I don't mean you, like, I don't know. That's like a joke on the internet, isn't it? Like, I just want to talk. Nothing else. Just talk. Well, I want to talk. Well, two low buys and no buys, because I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I cannot stand my own morals slash ethics of not over consuming, and it can kind of suck because, oh my gosh, I just got concealer in my hair. Yeah, no, if you can't tell, seriously, not doing well today, so I could pull this back, but and kind of suck in like the way where, I don't know, you just can feel bored sometimes, you know? Like, I just kind of feel bored and burnt out, and like I can't explore with my own collection, and for some reason I seem to think that buying something will fix this, and I know that it won't, and I do think there are like obviously other things happening that are making me feel this way. I am ending my back burner project pan just because I want to be able to play like with my makeup on Saturdays and Tuesdays, which are the 2 days that like I kind of have designated to play. Tuesdays I do something yellow, something fun, kind of something bright and well, not really colorful, but like neutrally colorful, if that makes sense. And then Saturdays are like all out fun days. I don't work on Saturdays, so there's no one around to tell me that I cannot wear blue makeup. That's not professional, even though it's an Olive Garden. Like, Madam, you said that about cussing too. And last I checked, like everyone in this restaurant still curses like a sailor. So yeah, no, I don't know, I'm just feeling like burnt out, and like there are like a lot of things like I want to buy, but at the same time I'm like, I don't need it, so I don't want to buy it. And it's like I've always kind of been one of those people where I'm like, okay, well, I don't need it, so like it's fine, you know? Like if my parents ask me like, hey, do you want like this food from the grocery store, I'll just be like, oh no, I don't need it. So like even if I want it, and a part of me is like, self-denial is obviously a really good virtue to have. I believe that honestly self-denial is like one of the most important virtues of like all the virtues. Like I don't know how to describe it because I know everyone has like a different idea of what a virtue is. I grew up Mormon. I'm not Mormon anymore, and so like virtuous was very much a you are a perfect little virgin rather than like a you actually looked into the philosophy behind like the idea of celibacy. Like the whole thing about celibacy is control and like a dedication to God. It's not like a I'm holier than thou because I'm celibate. Like no, it's like a it's very much like dressing modestly and like all these things. It's to show a dedication. It's not to be holier than thou. That's why like certain religious figures remain celibate for life. Like everything is, I don't know why I'm talking about this even, but like I've always believed that like self-restraint and self-control when it comes to like purchasing and buying is a very much a virtuous thing, because every single thing that we purchase has an impact on the planet and on people. And I definitely think that like if you buy something and then you don't use it, it was literally just a donation to the company that you bought it from. Like, I know so many people where they'll buy something and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I've never used that. And I'm like, then in a way, you just donated money to Urban Decay or to, I don't know, Natasha Denona. So if you are buying a Natasha Denona palette and not even using it, we are in a different tax bracket. Like, that's actually insane, but good for you. Not me, could not be me. If I were to buy one of like an expensive palette, I think I would buy it like wear it every single day. And this is where this whole thing comes in. This whole thing is kind of triggered because the Naked palette, the original Urban Decay Naked palette, they have announced a relaunch for a limited time. And when I tell you I wanted that palette for the longest time because it's like my perfect every single day work look. I mean, like, I've wanted it for like the longest time, but I was either too poor or it was discontinued, which obviously that happens. Like, I'm not going to complain about that, but it's coming back and I want to purchase it. And now I'm like fighting with myself because, like, well, you made this promise to only buy one eyeshadow palette this year, and it's a very specific eyeshadow palette. And then there's also the other side of me that's like, okay, but you wanted this for years. This is not an impulse FOMO decision. Like, no, I have legit wanted just any Naked palette really, but specifically the Naked one and the Naked Honey because I love yellows and I love neutrals, and I think they are the most beautiful palettes. Maybe not ever, but they are some pretty gorgeous palettes. You know, this is not the, what is the new Cosmic Brushes palette that launched, the warm tone one, not the cool tone one. I can't remember if it's the neutrals or like the neutrals or like the warm trolls, something like that. But it's a stunning palette and I want it, but I know I don't need it, and so I don't buy it. And I'm not like super hung up on it. Same with the Botanical palette by Beauty Bay. You know, that one, it launched. I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so badly. I accepted it was limited edition. I've kind of let it go. Would it be nice to have it? Yeah, but I don't need it. Now, at the end of the day, that's kind of like what all of this comes down to is I don't need it. And it's like, okay, yes, but I'm kind of at this point where I'm like, I feel like I've been like self-restraining for so long. And I know that sounds like super weird, but in a way it is very much like a philosophical thing for me. Like, I don't buy things because I believe that it is immoral to basically be wasteful, you know? I don't like to waste things and then, you know, have that impact on the planet and on people just be there for all of eternity. Well, maybe not for all of eternity, but like for like the next like 200 years, you know? That just feels incredibly wrong in my opinion. And I know there are some people where it's like, oh, well, you shouldn't moralize everything. And I'm like, but you should moralize everything, in my like humble opinion. Like, I know there are some people who are like, don't moralize everything, you'll live a better life. And I'm like, actually, that's an incredibly selfish statement. Like, I would rather be concerned about my actions and the impact that they have on other people than go through life being like, oh, well, I'm not even going to think about it because it stresses me out occasionally or it makes me sad occasionally. It's like, I don't, okay, don't hate me, don't like cancel me or whatever, but if you do something just to make yourself happy, but you know it's making someone else's life miserable, you're a trash human being. And if you do not care about it, you're even more of a trash human being. And especially if like you claim to care about it, you're a trash human being. Like, I'm sorry. I think there's like this idea of like self-restraint when it comes to like treating yourself with something like fast fashion or fast makeup or really just anything that is not like an easily consumable good. Now, like, obviously this is on the go for something like, oh, I want to treat myself, so I'm gonna get myself a coffee. No, that's different, although coffee does have a history of exploitation. But I mean, if you buy from like a place you know sources well and all of that stuff, there's not a problem with that. Or if you're saying, oh, I want to treat myself, so I am going to buy a cake or a cookie or a donut. Okay, that's not wrong. But when you say, I want to treat myself, so I'm going to buy this, like, these few tops from H&M. If you don't need those tops and they're just going to sit in your closet for like years and you're not even going to use them and you just bought them because you were feeling sad and like lonely or something, like, I'm very sorry, but I do think that is unethical. Like, I think there's this idea where if you do something unethical, like, you deserve to be hated, you know? It's kind of like, I think when I say something like, oh, I think that's unethical, people put it on the same level as, well, you think I'm like a serial killer. It's like, no, I don't. I don't think you deserve to be hated on that same level. I'm just saying, take the critique. I think there's this idea, and I was like, I'm gonna start complaining about my generation. My generation can't be critiqued. Let's be real here. We just kind of can't. Like, I don't know what it is about us, but we have this idea of not critiquing each other. And I'm like, okay, critique is how we grow as a society. I don't know how to tell you this, but like, I'm not going to just stand by and watch as you meaninglessly buy a bunch of fast fashion that you don't need. I mean, this is one of those things where like I kind of look at friends and I go, I don't know if I want to be friends with you because the company I keep directly impacts, you know, myself. And does that sound selfish? Maybe a little bit, but it's like, it's another thing. Let's not even get started on this idea of like, I don't know, I think it's like, when it comes to like respecting your morals and your boundaries, you can be selfish with that. Like, if someone, this is something I don't really hang out with people who like openly talk about like how much they drink. I'm fine if you drink, but I think it should be like a in moderation thing, you know? But I don't seek out friendships with people who are like, oh yeah, you know, I just want to get super slammed this Friday night. It's like, that's really sad. I feel bad for you. And I don't want that lifestyle because I have like, my family has a history of addiction in it. And I have a history of compulsive, like compulsive disorders. I have a history of OCD and I have a history of skin picking. And also, I'm just like everyone has their compulsions, I feel like. You know, for me, if I'm stressed, I compulsively start drinking like whatever is in front of me, be it water, coffee, soda, whatever. So I just kind of know that like, if I were to be around someone who's always getting freaking sloshed, that would not be good for me. And I mean, that's another thing that leads back into this whole idea of like self-restraint and being on a low buy, is that I definitely think it's very much a moral thing for me. Everything I do is tied back to morals. I do not eat meat because I believe that it is wrong to kill another animal for meat in the day and age where we do not need to. Now, obviously, this is talking from the perspective of someone in a developed nation. If you are living in an underdeveloped nation, I'm not going to hate you for eating meat. I forgot to do a step in this eye look, but I really don't have the energy to care right now. I'm not going to lie, I feel horrible. This eye look is probably just making me look even more sick, isn't it? But at the same time, this is everything, you know? It's like, I saw this meme. I know it's super weird, but it was motivation, and the motivation line was like all squiggly, up and down, up and down, up and down. And the discipline line was very steady. And I'm just not feeling motivated to continue on with my replacement only no buy. And it's something I will say, I do think I will pick up the Urban Decay Naked palette because it's something I've wanted for years. And then I will also still pick up the Makeup Revolution holiday release, you know? I know I was just talking about fast makeup and stuff, but there has not been anything that came out that I am aware of when it comes to Makeup Revolution, like using slave labor. I think there's also this idea of like anything that is made in China is slave labor, and that's not true. There are ethical productions happening in China, and actually we need that ethical production to be happening in places like China to bring those jobs to people, especially because places like China, Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, like a lot of those places, they are so heavily intertwined with the like production world, I guess you could call it, like the production of goods, that you do need like certain companies that pay those livable wages to open up shop in those places. And for another thing, once people can start to see that, oh, well, you know, my next door neighbor down the street, they have a job working at a factory and they make enough like a living wage, but I'm not, they'll start to see that and they'll start to demand it. Like it's how an economy works when you have good people working in the economy rather than horrible pigs who take advantage of like everyone. But we don't need to get into that. I feel like I've been very angry lately and I don't know why. But I do think I'm going to buy those couple of things and I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace. I'm not going to be super hard on myself. I'm not going to say like, oh, well, you know, you didn't need this. It's like, I didn't need it. But at the same time, I really wanted it. And what is so wrong about, you know, like, treating myself? And that's something where it's like, it's a difficult topic for a lot of people because, like, I don't know. You can feel like treating yourself can be a bad thing and it can be a good thing, right? And it can be a bad thing when you treating yourself hurts other people, but it can be a good thing when it does not. And I feel like it's probably not. Like, again, Urban K has never had anything come out against them for using like child labor or like slave labor. Throat is starting to hurt like really bad now. I'm gonna get a cough drop. That was just way harder than it needed to be. But where was I? Yeah, no, I feel like, I don't know, this is definitely where I'm very torn because I want to continue on with, you know, that path of like discipline. But at the same time, there comes a point when a life of complete discipline is not meant for everyone. And at a certain point, you are just going to burn out and you are just going to binge, you know? It's kind of like I have a history of disordered eating, and for the longest time, I would restrict and restrict and restrict. And then I would eat an entire box of crackers in one sitting at midnight and feel absolutely humiliated about that. And it's like, I don't want that to happen with my makeup. I don't want to be like super strict on a low buy / no buy. For some things, it's a no buy. For some things, it is a low buy. But I don't want to like be on that and then just like, I don't know what the word would be, but like fail. Like, I don't want to binge. I don't want to binge buy. You know, there's binge eating, binge, you know, drinking. There's binging on all these things. We don't talk about binge buying enough. And like, what I mean by that is basically, well, I've had a bad day, so I'm going to go on to, I don't know, Forever 21's website. I'm trying to think of like a brand that is not Shein or H&M. Zara? I don't know. But I'm going to go onto their website and just shop and shop and shop. A, horrible financial decision. Just horrible. B, not the best ethical decision. Not the best like moral decision. It's not the best for, and C, it's really not the best for your mental health. Like, that dopamine spike and hit, I know it feels good in the moment, but it's gonna lead to you feeling like crap later on. You know, I feel like it's just a really complicated subject and maybe not one that I should be discussing while sick. I think I might be wearing a fever too, but I don't know. It's my thoughts, it's my opinions. Eyeshadow is all that I feel like doing today. This isn't all that I felt like doing for the last couple of days, and I have Goldsmith for my eyeshadow palettes, so yeah. Okay, let me know your thoughts and opinions on low buys and no buys, if you think they work, if you think that they can be inherently toxic. What's your thought on like just self-restraint in general? Good idea, bad idea? I personally love it. I feel like it's taught me so much about who I actually am rather than who I am outside of like what society expects of me, you know? I don't buy something just because society tells me to buy it. I buy something because I want it, you know? And literally this is like all about buying pretty much, you know? Like, I know I brought up like Christianity and chastity before. I don't actually give a crap about that. It's a personal decision. Keep it in your life. Like, literally, that's the thing. What I find so funny Christianity focuses so much on like chastity when it is the thing which inherently affects society like the least. Like, your bedroom life literally affects you and the people involved in it. Every other action that you make pretty much affects like everyone else in society, even like drinking. Like, I don't get it. And that's like the one that they're so hard and fast on, and I'm like, this just feels slightly like, I don't know. I don't have many thoughts on this. I'm ace. I can't have many thoughts on this, I feel like. But let me know your thoughts, your opinions. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one, where I will hopefully not be ill. Hopefully. Pray for me.